Fragrance of the day, Versace Eros, EDP. I don't use this one that much, but yeah, there it is. All right, guys, welcome back. Sorry it's been a few days, maybe even a few weeks. Um, I would like to go over some notes I got at church the other day. We were talking about integrity and leadership, and we're going to be reading out of Acts 5:1 through 11. Just to recap, it's about a man and a woman. He's supposed to be the leader of his household. His wife ends up leading him into destruction, right? So his integrity was tempted and he failed. He later pays the price for his actions. It says Ananias and Sapphira. Okay, and correct me on the name if I'm wrong in the comments. But there was a certain man named Ananias who, with his wife Sapphira, sold some property. He brought part of the money to the apostles, claiming it was the full amount. With his wife's consent, he kept the rest. Then Peter said, Ananias, why have you let Satan fill your heart? You lied to the Holy Spirit and you kept some of the money to yourself. The property was yours to sell or not to sell, as you wished. And after selling it, the money was also yours to give away. How could you do a thing like this? You weren't lying to us, but to God. As soon as Ananias heard these words, he fell to the floor and died. Everyone who heard about it was terrified. So God punished him for lying and not fully giving him the amount. And it was his wife who tempted him. So that wasn't a good leadership of him. Then some young men got up, wrapped him in sheets, and took him out and buried him. About 3 hours later, his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. Peter asked her, was this the price you and your husband received for the land? Yes, she replied. That was the price. And Peter said, how could the two of you even think of conspiring to test the Spirit of the Lord like this? The young men who buried your husband are just outside the door, and they will carry you out too. Instantly, she fell to the floor and died. When the young men came and saw that she was dead, they carried her out and buried her beside her husband. Great fear gripped the entire church and everyone else who heard what had happened. It's powerful. It shows you where your integrity is at. So it says, where are you most tempted to compromise your integrity and how can you guard against it? We saw that Ananias' integrity was tempted with money. How do you lead those around you? Are you leading them to truth or to compromise? So as we saw the wife who was trying to lead the household, since Ananias wasn't leading it correctly, she led him to compromise. She made it seem like it was okay to not tell the full truth to God, and they paid quickly. With their life they paid. In what ways do we sometimes fear people's opinions more than God's? How can we shift our focus? Who in your life holds you accountable, and how can you strengthen those relationships? For me, it's going to be one of my good buddies. He holds me accountable anytime. Maybe if I slip on cuss or he sees me drink, he'll hold me accountable pretty quick. He's very good on that, and I do the same, vice versa. I'm also learning as I go, so it's good to have a godly friend. So I encourage you also to go out and find godly friends and hold people accountable. And judge in love. Judge out of love. Don't judge out of hate. Judge how you want to be judged. If you're a man listening, are you leading your household with integrity? Or are you leading them to compromise? Are you being led somewhere even though you're supposed to be the leader? Are you following? If you're a woman, are you holding your man to a higher standard to make sure his integrity isn't compromised? Or are you just following along down the wrong path? So let's make sure we can all hold each other accountable. That was Acts 5:1 through 11. And if you want to check it out yourself or read the whole thing, read deeper into it, I encourage you to do that as well. That was just what I had for today. Another thing is we learned some stuff at church yesterday. It's called C2. We learned new can't fix you. We're on week 4. It's our last one. What's your appetite? What are you craving for the Lord? What's your veil? And this past week, we went over like David when he was out there working out in the fields with the sheep. He was at work and they came and said, hey, you're going to be the next king, We're out still working and glorifying the Lord. You've got work to do. I've got work to do. We've got work to do. So stay at work And one challenge I will leave with you today is be a living representation of Christ. One thing I add in my prayer is, God, just please allow anyone that needs to hear from you or that needs to know who you are, just put them in my path. Allow them to come to me, and I'm able to spread the gospel and allow me to be the light in the darkness in this cold world. That's one thing I add to my prayer. And let's make sure we are being a representation of Christ out in this world. Is there anyone in your life, whether it be at work, school, your house, your friends, anywhere, your relationship, that needs to experience God? And what are you doing to get them closer to God? So thank you. I hope you take all those questions. I hope you learned something. Yeah, so I'll see you next time.